Good morning, everyone. Well, for me, it's morning. Technically, it's nighttime because I just got off work, but when you see this, good morning. So, I had Neil actually send me all the things we need to work on. So, one, we need to turn down the music volume, change the ground pound particle, the wall jump force, the way they jump, and the way the player jumps in general. We need to add in a ground texture for this plane that the player stands on, and I'm going to add in a fade because I swear if I don't, I'm going to shave my head bald. I'm going to clip my fingernails and step on some Legos and goat heads. For those of you who don't know what a goat head is, they're also known as stickers. Goat head stickers. These are goat heads, and my lawn is filled with them. Do not tempt me; I will do this. So, I don't want to endure this kind of pain. Y'all don't want. Well, I'm sure y'all would like to see me endure that kind of pain because it'd be comical. But other than that, I don't want to do it. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and start with turning down the music. Easy. So we'll go into sounds. I've already checked these files out, so we're good. And I'm going to show and explore. We'll go in here. And so we have in-game intro, new, and in-game loop, new. So I have already checked these out. Let me verify. See, I'm in script, so I need to scroll down. So we have new and new. Don't need to really worry about these, so I'm good. Alright, so I'm going to fire up Audacity. If I can find it down here, here it is. I'm going to go ahead and click on the player, and I'm going to go down here. I'm going to edit the movement script. So while that's loading, Audacity is loading, we should be good. Okay, so Audacity is loaded. No, I did not pause the video. It just loads that quick. Visual Studio will probably overlap it here in just a second. Like I said. So we need in-game intro new. So is what's going on. The reason why it's loud. I'm actually going to keep my audio settings where they're at, so I apologize for how loud this is. Okay, so you can see that right here it's going above 3. Earlier I said it needs to be anywhere between 12 and 9. If you can get it right around around this range, this would be perfect. So how do we fix this? Well, very simply, we'll go ahead and select everything. We'll go to Effect, Amplify, and we're actually going to bring it down just a little bit. I'm going to say 3, and hit OK, and then I'll hit play. Still a little too loud, so I'm actually going to repeat Amplify and hit play. We're getting a lot closer, so we're going to go to Effect, Amplify. I'm actually going to bring it down probably something like -1.5 and hit OK and hit play. So it looks like I'm right around where I need to be. I'm thinking I probably need to go ahead and do it one more time. There we go. That is perfect. That is perfect. That's right between 12 and 9. And if you look at the bars up here, so if you notice, we never see a yellow bar. It always stays green. That's ideally where you want to keep it. So I'm going to go ahead and export this as a WAV file because that's what it is. I'm just going to hit save, and yes, I want to replace it, and hit OK. I apologize if you hear my dog in the background. So we have this one right here, which is new. Then we have this one right here, which is the other one. So I don't know why it saved like that. But we can go ahead and open this up. My default player for WAV files is AVS. Okay, so it's actually the one below this. So this one we can go ahead and delete. And then we're going to go ahead and close this out. Well, not the program, but just that one soundtrack. We're going to do in-game loop new. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to Amplify. Oops, my bad. Let's go to Amplify. I'm just going to do -9. You know what? You want to fight me? That's fine. You can fight me. There we go. Hit play. So that's perfect. It's not going above this 9, and that's right where I want it. So let's go ahead and export as WAV. And this will be in-game loop new. And yes, I want to replace it, and hit OK. So now we have this one. I'm going to play this one. Okay. So now I know which one to delete. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, well, it even says old. So, yay. Alright, so the music is now fixed as far as the end game goes. So I'm now going to come down here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to double click on this and we're going to go to Effect, Repeat Amplify. That's perfect. And let me go ahead and go to Export as Wave. Save. Yes. Okie dokie. And then we're going to go ahead and close this out. We're going to do Loop. Let me go ahead and double click in here. Effect, Repeat, Amplify. Hit play. And that's beautiful. So I'll go to Export as Wave. Yep. Okie dokie. And so we have the old right here, and we have the old right here. And so I can go ahead and just delete both of those. I'll play this one real quick, make sure it sounds good. That sounds good. And that sounds good. So we're good on those. That's all you have to do for the music. In fact, we can go inside the game and test this real quick. Now, just like our instructor, I have really, really sensitive ears. It's part of having Asperger's. Anything with a real high pitch or frequency or tone, it can actually make me extremely irritated. And so I kind of understand where he's coming from on that. I'm not going to pass any blame on him for saying that, hey, we need to tone this down. But this is where I come into play, where I go ahead and test it. And we have no music playing. Why don't? Oh, because I'm not doing it from the starting scene. That's why. So let me go into the starting scene. I'll hit play real quick. Oh yeah, that's so much better. That is a lot better. I can actually hear myself think, even though it's only halfway up. So I think that's dead on where we need it. Alright, next, what else do I need to do? Ground pound particles. So let's go ahead and do this next. So I'm going to go into metric scene. And we're going to expand this over. Let's go and click on the ground pound right here. So we have this particle system. And I really thought this was a separate particle system. Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter. So the instructor says that this right here looks like it might actually damage the player. And okay, I agree. I will give him that. I do agree that this does look like it could be potentially hazardous. So how do we fix this? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to look at the color that it's emitting. Even though whenever the player smashes the ground, these are the colors that it emits, we don't want to use these colors, because these colors are actually signifying as, hey, this is warning colors. Stay away from it. So let's go ahead and start with doing the color. So I like the way it fades out, but for the color, instead of doing this yellow, orange, red, I'm actually going to do more of a cool color. And so we'll start off with blue. And then we'll go to more of a lighter blue, and then we're going to finish out with a green. There we go. And so now that looks a lot better. This blue is still a little dark, so I'm actually going to make it a bit lighter. Probably move it. I wonder what purple would look like. Let me just see what this does. Oh yeah, I kind of like that actually. And so the next thing right now is just doing these emissions, these pulse emissions. I'm actually going to change the count to, you know what, now that I think about it, I'm actually just going to get rid of it and set this rate over time to 35. And instead of having it come out like this, because right now I believe I'm using a circle. Yep, I'm using a circle. So I'm actually going to use a cone. And I'll come down here, I'll say -90. And then the next thing I need to do is lower the speed, because right now the speed still seems like it's somewhat hazardous. So if I change start speed to 1, and extend its lifetime to say 3.5. Let me go ahead and watch my dog throw open her crate. Yeah, because that's awesome. I'll be right back, you guys. Alright guys, I really apologize for that. So where was I? Oh yes, setting the particles. I'm thinking actually 2.5 would be better than 3.5, because I don't want these to go too high up. The next thing I need to do is actually change the angle of the cone. I'm going to say 12.5. And I think I actually need to slow this right down to 22. Let me go and set this to 8. There we go. And down here for the radius, I'm actually going to set this to 0.25. Go ahead and try 0.5. 2.5. There we go. Let's change this to 15. There we go. That looks a lot better. 0.3. Okay, I'm happy. Next thing I want to do. So these particles that start off, they all start the same size and they disappear as the same size. Now that's cool and all, but I don't really want to do anything like that. So I'm actually going to turn on size over lifetime. Now Unity gives us a graph. And the graph that we do it is going to be edited down here. So right now, these particles are starting really small and they're getting really big, which is honestly kind of what I want. I'm going to change the scale to 2.5. And so what I want to do is I actually want to change the way that this is done. So I'm actually going to edit this. And these are called, I believe these are, the term for them is Bezier handles. Can't really remember off the top of my head. You'd think I would, but I really don't. So right now this green actually gives it like a sense of poison. I actually want to bring it down here to a more cool blue. And then, let me go ahead and drag this key over here. So let's see how that looks inside the game. Oh yeah, that doesn't look half bad at all. One thing I think I want to do is actually drag this down, then drag this over. There we go. Now I'm probably actually going to add one more key in here. I'm going to bring this up to right about here. Let me bring this over. I actually need to change this handle. Oops. Move this handle up to here. There we go. That looks a lot better. I am actually really happy with that. So this is just something that's real cool, real easy going. It gives a player a sense that, hey, this is something special. You need to check it out. Although, the last thing I want to do is it actually covers up the artwork that we did for it. So I don't want to take too much attention from that. So the rate over time, I'm actually going to set this to 8. And then also for the alpha channel, I'm just going to bring this down to about, I'm going to say 180-ish. And there we go. That actually looks something like, you know, hey, this is something good. So that's done. What else is there? Wall jump force. Okay. So this is also going to be fairly easy to do. Let me go ahead and save this scene real quick. So the wall jump force. Right now, what's going on is the player's able to do a wall jump, but the instructor said that it needs to be able to push them back, and he is absolutely right, because in real life when you do a wall jump, you have this back force that pushes you away from the wall. So the way we're going to do that is inside the player movement script. We actually have where we get, if you're jumping, let me come up here. Okay, so it is definitely down here. So I'm looking for jump. I'm going to actually expand out both of these. And right here, the wall jump. Apparently I do not need that there, so I'm going to get rid of that. So we have, anytime the player hits jump, and they're traveling downwards, or I'm sorry, they're traveling upwards, then it's going to reset their vector, which is exactly what we want. But right here, we also want to say RB2D dot, let's see, add force, and we're going to say, let me think about how I want to do this, because we actually need to check to see which way we are facing. So the way we're going to do this is that we have this transform.up times jump force. Well, we're going to do something very similar to that. Transform.left. This is important, but yet we have a right. And so the way we're going to do this is I'm actually going to create a variable that will actually multiply it. So I'm going to leave that as a red outline. And let's go ahead and create a public, and this will be a float, if I can type. This will be wall jump force. So all this is going to do is specifically push the player back away from the wall each time they jump. So right here we have transform.right, we're going to say wall jump force. So now you might be wondering, well, but Jimmy, how are we going to actually tell the thing to jump like left or right if it only gives us transform.right? Well, this is actually very simple, because up here we got these little guys. Well, yeah, actually we can use this too. So we have flip X, and down here is what we're going to do is we're going to say if SR dot flip X, then we will do this. And we can say else. We will come in here, Control C, Control V, and we'll make that a negative wall jump force. Wait for it to save. Now, unfortunately, I can't test this immediately because I'll get a bunch of null reference exceptions. So the way we avoid that is let's go and hit play, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this first power up. Come on, give me some. Okay, so that is somewhat working. Let's go and click on the player and give her her wall jump force. I'm also going to ignore, I'm going to turn that off. So I'm going to, let's see, for my jump force, where is that at? 0.04. So I'm just going to say 0.08. And we will go ahead and test this real quick. Keep hoping I'll get some null reference exception errors, so this way I can disable whatever it is I need to disable. Okay, so that is kind of working. I'm actually going to set this to 0.2. So it's not really working the way I'm hoping it would. I think it's what's going on. Let me go ahead and stop playing for a second. So I think it's what's going on is it's doing it while the player is still holding down the space bar, and so it's constantly getting that. So I'm actually going to change this to just get button for now. Let's go ahead and test it like this. This is actually the original way we had made it. We're actually going to change up where, depending on how long you hold the space bar, will determine how high the player will jump. For now, this is the way I think we should leave it, just to be able to ensure everything is working properly. So we have this. That was actually really interesting, and this does need it down. Where is it that it takes this information and changes it? So it looks like the only place it changes it is right here, because this is looking to see if you get the button up. So I'm actually going to comment this line out, and then we'll go ahead and test it and see how it is populating. Or not populating, but actually going through the code. Well, that was interesting. Ooh, we have an null reference exception, finally. This is what I was looking for. So it's definitely in player. And aha, that is why. So I'm going to comment these two out for now. You know, I could have sworn I checked this. Oh, because that's player health. That's why. That is why. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. I'm going to turn off player health. This way it's not communicating with anything. This should alleviate that, I think. Okay. Okay, so it still needs to communicate. As long as I don't use dash, I should be fine. But it looks like right now the jump force is still too much, which makes sense because I never changed that back. So we have jump force. I'm going to set that to 0.02. Let's go ahead and test it out real fast and see what it does. Because I definitely want it to push the player back. I just don't want to push it back too far. Okay, so what's going on here is it's not quite giving me the jump force I want with the wall. And we have that right here. We have it right here if she's grounded. but we're not actually calling it whenever she's on the wall anymore. Okay, so that's what's going on. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll just come down here. We'll slap that bad boy down here, and we'll save it, and we will test it. It's kind of weird because I sworn I had that in there, but I guess not. Okay. See how high she jumps. So about her jeans. Okay. Alright, so that seems to be working now. Although that initial wall jump doesn't work too well. So let's go ahead and come in here and see what's going on. So we have the add force right here, and this is the jump force. We have it right here for double jump. And okay, I know what's going on. So it's still using this one up here, because as soon as we do a wall jump, it's saying is wall jumping is true, and has jumped equals false. So then it comes back through here, it says, hey, has jump equals false, so go ahead and do the transform.up. That is what's going on right there. So I was right. Let's go ahead and save this and test this. And this next part is primarily just messing with numbers. Joy. But once we get it, so that is just not right. I don't understand why. Let me see. Is wall jumping? So we actually need to look down in here and see what's going on. So is wall jumping equals false. Okay. Wall jump timer minus equals that. Wall jump timer is set back to that. So this is how often she can do a wall jump. And just trying to think about how I want to do this. So I don't think it really matters if we've jumped or not. Is what does matter though is that we are. Oh wait, that's not the one I want to do. So yeah, so this is can wall jump and is wall jumping input check. So this equals false. And then it sets back to true. So all that does is just does a quick input check. Okay. And can wall jump. That's part of the power up. Okay, so that's why I have that there. Because the power up specifies that yes, you can wall jump. And then this just does an input check to make sure that you're actually doing the inputs. Okay, so that makes sense. So is what I need to do if you are wall jumping is I need it to actually do a proper upwards thrust. And unfortunately each time you do it, it sets that to false. And then after the first time, then it'll go back to normal. So that's kind of a problem for me. That is actually a big problem for me. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this commented out code because we're not going to be using it. Alright. So, let's go ahead and start figuring this out. Because this is definitely going the right direction. I'm actually kind of happy with that. Biggest thing we need to do is we have this right here, which is, let me think. Do I want to do it that way? So here's what I'm thinking. If I take this one line of code, paste it right here. I can get rid of that here, and I can simply say, oops, if can wall jump. Well, no, I don't want to do it that way because you might be able to wall jump and there not be a wall there. So no, I definitely don't want to do it that way. Tempting, but definitely don't want to do it that way. So I need to figure out a way to take this. Oh, you know what? If I come in here and say and is wall jumping, but make this a false statement, then that will completely ignore that, and then we can take this, slap it down here, and then come here and paste that right there. That should actually fix the issue that we are having. Should. Keyword. Should. Not saying it will, not saying it won't, I'm just saying it should. The biggest thing is the fact that we're doing only on down, because that way it only pushes a player back for that one frame. Alright, so okay, so it looks like it's constantly pushing her back, so now I need to look and make sure. Yeah, that's definitely input get button down. Ew, what am I missing here? I think that's what I need to do is I actually need to do, well, I don't want to do has jumped in here. I definitely don't want to do that. But I could do, well, no, that'd be the same problem I'm running into. Huh. Give me just a couple minutes to think about this, you guys. I'll be right back. Alright, guys, so Jimmy had a dumbass moment. Basically, is what I did is I'm doing another check to make sure that can wall jump is set to false. Because can wall jump is only set to true if you're within a trigger area of object tagged as wall. So by adding this, we actually get something that's way more unique. And the only way you're actually scale up the walls, and that's if you have double jump. So if we hit play and test this out, you'll see that by having double jump, you are able to scale the wall. Oops, I did not mean to do that. But here's something else that's interesting. If you don't have double jump, this is actually really cool. So, oh, nope, messed up. I'm going to do an input. Oh, come on. I'm going to do a wall jump off the wall, and you can see like the player's able to go way over here just off of one jump. So if I start doing double jumps, let me go ahead and do one more. The player can get some serious air. And so I think that's actually really cool. That actually came out way better than I thought it would. So that's what we're going to do for wall jump. It pushes her off just a little bit. It's not overbearing. If we need to, we can always increase this number up here, the wall jump force. But do I have player prefab checked out? I don't know if I do or not. Man, that dog is annoying. I wish she would shut up. I love her, but she's sick and she is annoying. Alright, so I'm going to check out... Oh, player prefab. That's what I need. I need to check out the player prefab. So let me go and expand this out. Player prefab, check out. Okay, come back up here. Let's go ahead and apply to player prefab. There we go. So what else is next on this? So we have jump force, normal jump, ground texture. Okay, ground texture. I can do a ground texture. So I'm going to open up Krita. And while that's doing, let's see. Let's go ahead and add in a fade while we're at it. So a fade. How do we do a fade? Well, first we are going to click on our transition point. And we don't have it in here, so we need to add it in here. Go ahead and type in fade, because I've already made a script on this. Now this requires an animator component, and I'll get into that here in just a little bit. Oh, Krita's loaded. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this real quick. The width and height is just going to be 512 by 512. We don't need anything that's super fancy, and we don't need anything that's like, you know, real high resolution. I'm going to keep the background layer on because, you know, I'm going to need it. But I'm going to set it to black. I'm going to set the background to black. There we go. And so I'm just going to choose some default browns. I'm going to choose this texture right here. So right here, this is set to 435, which is actually a good number. I'm just going to click once in the middle. I'm going to go to Layer, Transform, and we're actually going to offset the layer. So I set this to 512 by 512, so X will be 256. I'll slap another one in the middle. Let me go to Layer. We're going to Transform, Offset. Now we're going to offset the Y. And then I'm going to slap another one in the middle. Then I'll go to Layer, Transform, Offset Layer, and we're going to offset it on the X one more time. And boom. So what does this do for me exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. So if I save this, and I save it as a PNG, I can come down here, and this will be ground texture. Let me go into Assets. We're actually going to create a new folder called Textures. And this will just be called ground texture. So I'm going to hit save. Okay. We'll come into Unity. And we're still working with this. I'll deal with this here in just a second. So I'll go into project. And we don't have a material. We do have materials folder. So I'm going to create. And this will be, where is material? There it is. This will be M ground texture. And so for the M ground texture, I'm actually going to go into my textures folder. I'm just going to drag this on the base map. Now, the thing that makes this so cool is if I come back up here to materials, I can just drag this on the ground, and it is repeatable, completely repeatable. So this is actually scaled 57 and 7. Okay, so for the tiling, we're going to set this to 50, and we'll set this to 7. There we go. It is, as you can see, it's completely repeatable. You don't see any edges, you don't see any seams. That's what we want. That's why I did it that way in the other program. So now we're going to work on the fade. So since I've added this in here, we have the animator component and we have the timer. Well, what are we going to do with this? Well, first of all, we're going to bring this guy over here. We're going to create a new script. This is going to be called fade in. And we will hit save. And so for this property right here, we're actually going to use, let me go ahead and move this over. We're actually going to create, and we're going to go to UI, and let's go ahead and create a canvas. So for the canvas, man, that dog will not shut up. I wish she would. So for the canvas, we're actually going to right click, and let's go ahead and create another UI. We'll create a type image. And let's go ahead and just drag this to the full canvas size. Like so. Throw these anchor points on here. Real quickly, something I forgot to mention. Whatever size this is and wherever it's at. Another way of doing this, I don't know why I didn't think about this, but you can simply click on this right here and stretch it out to fit the anchors. Alternatively, you can also hold down Alt and click on that, and that'll stretch that out as well. I don't know why I don't do it like that. I just keep forgetting that you can. But anyways, that's not important. So what is important is I'm setting this to black. You can also do this through, you can actually have this call the other canvas menu, and it will actually hide the player GUI. And I'm actually thinking that is the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to delete this canvas, and we're still going to use this fade in, but we're just going to override it. So in here for this canvas, we're going to create UI, and we're going to create an image. We're going to do the same thing I just showed you. Stretch to fit. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the anchors are fit in there as well. Let's go ahead and set this to black. There we go. And we're actually going to edit this color. So let's go ahead and, I don't know why I closed that window out. So let's go into animation. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to hit create, and this will be fade in, and we will save. So from here is what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button. I want it to fade in and out. Let's go ahead and set it to 1 second and see what it looks like. So this is fade in, which means this one will actually come here to the negative. Because it was already set to fully opaque, it's automatically going to create a keyframe for us right here. And so when we hit play, that looks good. So, but then you're probably thinking, but Jimmy, it's going to keep looping. And the nice thing about this is it's not in here. It's actually going to be in the other view. So let's come into Animator. And we're going to click on this. And right here it is Where are you at? You would think I'd remember this, but I don't. Just click on fade in, loop time, turn that off. So now when I hit play, let me come back here to the beginning. Naturally, it won't let me play it, but oh, I know why, because I'm not selected on the canvas anymore. So if I click on the canvas, click on this image, and hit play, it will just, right now this isn't what you see, but if I were to hit play on this, because it does have root motion applied to it, it should just play through this one time. There we go. And that looks gorgeous. And you do see fade in still playing, but it's no longer looping, and that's what's important. So how do we do a fade out? Well, very simply, let's go and click back on this image, and I'm actually going to drag, click and drag. You can also just control select. I like to click and drag up here in this darker gray area. That will select all the keyframes. In this case, I just have 2. I'm actually going to hit Control C. We'll create a new clip, and this will be called fade out. And we'll paste that in there. So now that we've done that, I'm going to click on this first keyframe. I'm going to drag it back here, and this, well, this is actually the first keyframe, but I'm going to drag it up here, and this is the second keyframe. I'm going to drag this to the beginning. So essentially all I've done is inverted these. So when I scrub through on the time slider, you can see that it fades out, which is exactly what we want. From there, let's go ahead and make transition, and there we go. So you're probably thinking, but Jimmy, once this goes through, it's automatically going to stop right here. Yes, it will. So we also need to turn off loop time, because we only want to play one time, and we're actually going to create, you can either do a bool or a trigger, you know, either one works. It's cool. I'm going to do a bool because that's what I'm more partial to. And we'll say fade start. So we're going to actually, oh, that's already set there. That's nice. So I'm actually going to set it right here. So this way it has a perfect fade in. And when we start it, it'll start at 0 for the fade out. Has exit time. We do not want that. We just want to throw this down here and say, yes, this is now true. And then we'll go from there. So now it comes to a question, well, how do we call this? Well, luckily, for the transition point, we're already calling this in its animator. And so literally all I have to do is just drag this image to right here, and boom, there it is. So I'm actually going to edit the script because I was actually thinking about the way I wanted to do this. And I had level to load, select start, fade to level. I had all this crazy stuff. And originally, as I was saying, I was going to do a set trigger. And we can still do a set trigger. In fact, you know what? That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do a set trigger. So, for the image, I'm going to paste that. And, you know, I'm just going to create a new trigger. That's what we'll call it. Fade out. That one can go away. Delete. I don't care. We'll change this one to fade out, and there we go. So we're just going to set it to trigger because that's the way I initially set it up, and y'all will see how this works. So we have these new, trying to think what it's called. We have the fade scene in. Let's go ahead and look at how this works. So real basically, did I seriously not add I did not add that in there. Wow, Jimmy, you completely screwed up on that. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Fade to level index. So it says level to load will equal to level index, and then it'll do this. We're just going to have it do it. So I'm literally going to add this in here, and that's going to be it. It's just going to fade out whenever we do fade to level. So I'm going to hit save. And the way I'm going to do this is for the transition point. Any day now, Scooter. There we go. So for this transition point, each time I hit this, I'm actually going to go ahead and call the fade script. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go into my transition point. I also need to, I don't know why I just did that. So let me see. Fade script. I'm actually going to move this over here. So I need to call fade to level. And I honestly don't even need any of the stuff in here. I'm actually going to keep that in there. I'm just going to create a new public void. Or actually, this right here will do it for me. I just have to call select start. So that's what I'm going to call, is select start. Let me go ahead and save this in here. I need to check out transition point. Man, I must have been tired when I made these. So let's go into transition point, and we're actually going to come down here, and we have on trigger enter. So we don't actually want to do this right away. We do, however, want to say right here, let's see, transition internal. So instead of calling this, I'm actually going to call this. Now you might be wondering why I'm getting the red squiggly. Well, that's because I'm not calling it in here. So I'm going to say, you know what, I'm just going to make it public. Public fade script fs fso. Alright, so on start we're going to say fs equals fs dot get component, and the component is of type fade script. We'll set that in there. We'll come down here, we'll say fs dot that, and then we're actually going to create these swirly brackets, and this right here will be start coroutine, and this will be called transition wait. So what does transition wait do? Well, it will literally wait for 1 second before transitioning the player so it has time to fade out. Simple. This will be IEnumerator, and this will be called transition. Did I just... No, I didn't. Okay. Transition wait, and we will say yield return new wait 4 seconds, and we're actually going to put our own timer in here, and our timer will be of a public float. So let's go and type in public float, and this will be called transition timer. So I'm going to copy that. Oh, I did not mean to do that. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to paste that in there, and I'm going to say transition internal, I believe. Transition internal. Okie dokie. You have got to be kidding me. How do I could have sworn I took out... Oh, because I did the prefab. Well, that's okay. I need to edit the prefab anyways. So, screw you. Scripts. Where are you at? Transition point. Check out. Okay. Come back into here. Let's go ahead and save this. And if I have done this correctly, which I think I have, I should be able to call that. Oh, no, I won't be able to call that just yet because... Yeah, I should be able to call that. You know what? Screw it. Let's find out. So I'm actually going to turn that off for just a second. I want to come back into the scene. I'm going to click on player. I'm going to move the player over here. I'm also going to do one more thing. So for the cameras, right now we have this camera follow script. I hate how it lerps when it starts. So what I want to do is, one, I want to check this out. So I'm going to go into camera follow script. Check this out. Okie dokie. We will minimize that. And in here, we have this right here. But what I want to do is I want to say the transform dot position will be of the player position. So I'm going to say transform dot position equals, and this will be player trans dot position dot x. We actually need to specify this as a dot x as well. Oh wait, is it that, or you know what? Screw it. I'm too tired to think. I'm just going to slap this up here. I'm going to change this to 20. It'll lerp instantly. Okay, so I'm going to save that. So as soon as I hit start, the camera should instantly snap to where the player is at. So I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to hit play. And we won't see it right away. Okay, we kind of saw it. Meh, it's fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn this image on and see what happens, shall we? Okay, that looks good. Let's come over here. Null reference exception. What is our null reference exception? Transition point. Okie dokie. So it's just with this. What am I missing? Oh, fade script. Duh. Oh, I feel like a bag of potatoes. Alright, we'll let that load. We'll unpause it. That fades in beautifully. We'll come over here. That fades out. Beautiful. Okay, that is awesome. So, yeah, we have action block. This is one of the other scenes that someone else is working on. I just haven't added to my build settings, but it is doing exactly what I want it to do. So I'm actually really happy with this. I'm going to actually remove this component because we don't need it. Go ahead and apply to prefab. I'm going to say modify, apply to prefab. I'm going to do the same right here, and boom, we are done. All four done. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, we are back. Sorry about that, had to use the restroom. Okie dokie. So this is pretty much done. It does everything I want it to do. I am happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and submit these changes. Let me look real quick. So I turned down the music. We got the ground pound, the wall jump force, the normal jump, ground texture, and we have a fade added in. Normal jump. So originally the assignment called for the player to be able to lightly tap the jump button to get just a little bit of a jump. But then if they hold it down, they get the maximum jump. How do we do that? Well, very simply, we go into, it is not up here, so I'm going to open up, oh, actually, I want to fix this real quick. So I need the transform.position to equal player vec.position. Is that going to take? No, it will not. Okay, so that's because that's a vector 3. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Because realistically, I need the player trans. But the issue with this is that it will actually move it on the z-axis, and I really do not want that at all. And I can't really specify these, I don't think. Oops. So yeah, I can't do that. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this where I can just lock it in for the x and y values. Fortunately, I can... You know what? I can actually do... I think I can do camera vec.position, or camera ec.x will equal player trans position.x, because camera should be itself, and then I can actually do the same for y. Set that right there. Hit save. So as soon as it starts, the camera should snap right over to where the player is at. Notice how I said should. So I'm going to hit play. I'm actually just going to tap on this little button right here. This will actually step to the next frame. So it's still moving to where the player is at. Not quite what I'm wanting. Let's see what it looks like when I do hit play. Or at least when I unpause it. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. I think that's what I need to do is actually add in a private float, and this will be called camera timer. And I'm going to make that equal to 0.5f. What will this do? Well, what this will do is this will change the lerp position, or the lerp value. So I'm going to say if camera timer is less than or equal to 0, then we'll lerp at this speed. Oh, I also need to do one more thing. Is we're going to say camera timer minus equals time dot delta time. And so we're also going to say else. We're going to copy this line right here, and we're going to lerp that bad boy as fast as we can. So that means we don't need these right here. Camera vec equals, oh yeah, I'm not worried about that. Okay, so now if I hit play, I'm actually going to hit pause, and then I'm going to hit play, so this way I can load everything. So when I unpause it, we should see that camera just shoot right over. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so that is now fixed. That was a little extra miscellaneous detail. So the next thing, or the last thing, shall I say, I'm going to go ahead and upload all of this to Perforce. Go and submit. And this is where I need... Am I still recording? Yes, I am still recording. Good. I wasn't sure if I was just talking to myself or if I was legit still recording. Okay, so turn down music volume. Changed ground pound particle. Set up wall jump force. Let's see. Added ground texture. Added in fade. I'm going to go ahead and save this real quick because I almost forgot about the jump. So focus on everything else. So let's go ahead and do the jump real quick. This is going to be the last thing I do for the night because I'm getting extremely tired. We will come down in here. We will actually, I'm going to undo that. We have wall jump force, and we're going to have jump timer. Jump timer, that's an interesting one. What will jump timer do? Very simply put. Earlier I had this little method group right here where it is if input dot get button up jump, it'll reset everything to 0. I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to say if jump timer is a certain value, then we'll do this. If it's another value, we'll do this. And finally, if it's this value, then we're going to do this. So we're actually going to say if in here, I'm actually, because this is all for the input.jump, we're going to say jump timer plus equals time dot delta time. And so I'm going to say if this is greater than, say, 0.2f. Actually, I don't even know how long it takes the player to jump. So let's go ahead and time this. So we have about a second. So that is actually going to be fairly easy to do. Trying to think of the best way to do this. It was greater than, or actually, let me. I don't know if I want to do it. I'm probably just gonna want to do if it's less than 0.2f. So that means they let off of the button within 0.2 of a second. Yeah, that should be fine. And this actually needs still needs to be if input dot get button up, button name being jump. Then we're going to do all this code here that I am specifying in the middle. So right here is what we're going to do. This is where we're actually going to set this to 0. And I know it's kind of weird because we're already kind of doing that. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Because I could just do a jump timer. Give me 1 second, you guys. Trying to think of the best way to do this. Okay, so here's the way I'm going to do this. Because these are already being set to 0. I'm actually going to slap these guys in here. Oh no, we can't do that. This is going to be more difficult than I thought it would be. Much more difficult. Because already if you get it up, that did not sound right. If you let up on the jump button, it's going to reset the RB dot velocity to 0 on both the X and Y. But the problem with that is that then you have to hold down the jump button to be able to stop moving up. Oh, you know what I could do is come in here, and I could say, and jump timer is greater than 0.5f. That would be the way to do it. And so then I'm going to say jump timer equals 0. There we go. That should fix the issue with the jump, so I can still get a low jump and I can still get a high jump. So let me test this out. I don't know why I hit pause. I don't need to worry about pausing it. Okie dokie. So that goes up to about 3, and that goes up to about 3, so there is literally no difference. I actually want to say is less than 0.5, that's why. Yeah, that's how you can tell I'm tired, because I mess up on basic math. I cannot math right now. Okay. So that's a small jump. Okay, so it looks like I need to actually lower this time. I'm going to say 2F. Yeah, so I'm still getting different results in here, and that's the only issue with that, is that it's hard to actually set this the way I want to. And the reason for that is because I'm not actually trying to set up a game where you have different jump heights. I want it to be where when you hit the jump button, you're going to get max jump. That's actually against the rubric instructions, though, which makes it very difficult to do. So as what I could do is for the y, I could say RB 2D dot velocity dot y divided by 2, and that will actually divide that. Let's go ahead and see what that does. Because right now it's basically if you tap the bar and let off of it within 1/10 of a second, that's what it's going to do. Otherwise, it just completely ignores it. So let's see what that does for us, shall we? Oh, that's a lot better. Okay, so that's maximum jump. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Let's see how it is with wall jump now. Oh yeah, I like that a lot better. That actually came out really good. Okay, so that is working. Alright, everything is done on the list. Shout out to Neil for sending me that list to let me know everything that needs to be done. So that will do it for this tutorial. I know it's another long one, but hey, I don't know, you guys want to learn, so here I am throwing these tutorials out here. Booyah! That one was actually more difficult than I thought it would be. But anyways, that's going to do it for this tutorial. I hope to see y'all next time. I hope y'all have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving coming up, which is only 13 days away. Stay safe. Wait, is it 13 days away? I don't even know how far things. No, my birthday's 13 days away. Thanksgiving is the day after, so it is 14 days away. So, anyways, shout out to y'all. See y'all later. Y'all doing an awesome job. Laters.